Next on our agenda, we have the awards, recognition, and commendations. First, we have the School Board Appreciation Month, Dr. Kilberry.
Good evening. Good evening, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fells, members of the board. This evening, we are pleased to celebrate February as School Board Appreciation Month. The theme, Leading for Success, reflects the top priority of local school board members as they advocate for public education with local, state, and federal leaders on behalf of all students. The month-long observance will provide us the opportunity to highlight the work of our school board members. We will be reflecting on the work of each board member on our Facebook page with a lovely biography that will help our community get to know our representatives as people and as board members. Please take a moment to read these. At this time, we will hear a quick word from the president of VSBA and roll directly into a presentation of thanks. Please direct your attention to the screen behind us.
Hello, I'm Tyrone Foster, President of the Virginia School Board Association. In February is School Board Appreciation Month. We have over 850 school board members from all walks of life who accepted the responsibility of overseeing education for Virginia's school children. From Grayson to Greene County, from Clark to Chesapeake, and from Northampton to Northern, every single school board member is united in our firm commitment for great public schools. So this February, please say thank you to your local school board member and let them know that you value their hard work. And to my fellow school board members across this great Commonwealth, I would like to personally thank you for always putting children first and for all that you do as leaders, advocates, and supporters of public education.
By the virtue of the authority vested by the Constitution of Virginia and the Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, there is hereby officially recognized School Board Appreciation Month. Whereas the education of Virginia's school-age children is the foundation upon which the economic, social, and intellectual strength of our Commonwealth is built. And whereas locally elected and appointed school board members play an important role in our representative democracy as the decisions of school boards directly influence instruction in Virginia's public schools. And whereas the leadership of our school boards affects the development and future of our children and ensures that students are prepared to compete in local, state, national, and global economies. And whereas local school boards devote themselves to providing a high-quality education for all students in the Commonwealth. And whereas this year's theme, Leading for Success, reflects the top priority of local school board members as they advocate for public education with local, state, and federal leaders. And whereas school board members work with parents, businesses, education professionals, and other community members to create and sustain an educational vision for our students. And whereas the Commonwealth of Virginia is proud of our education system and appreciates the efforts of local school board members to make the Virginia public school system an excellent place in which to educate our youth. And whereas School Board Appreciation Month recognizes school board members for their leadership and support of a public school system from which the entire Commonwealth benefits. Now therefore, I, Ralph S. Northam, do hereby recognize February 2019 as School Board Appreciation Month in our Commonwealth of Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens. At this time, I will call all 6 school board members' names and their district that they are associated with. We ask that you please stand and be recognized. Mr. George Spalding, Bowling Green District. Dr. Jawanda Rollins-Fells, Reedy Church District. Mrs. Nancy Carson, Mattapani District. Mr. Sean Kelly, Madison District. Mrs. Tinka Harris, Port Royal District. And Mr. John Copeland, Western Caroline District. Let's take a moment to show our appreciation for their dedication and hard work.
Next, this is also School Board Clerk Appreciation Week. And it reads, this is School Board Association Board of Directors has designated third week of February the 18th to the 22nd, 19, as Virginia School Board Association School Board Clerk Appreciation Week, with a goal of building awareness of the role the school board clerk plays in assisting school board members, superintendents in our local schools. We appreciate the work of our school board clerk, Lisa Stevens, and our deputy clerk, Terry Harrison. Proclamation reads, by virtue of the authority vested by the Constitution of Virginia and the Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, there is hereby officially recognized School Board Clerk Appreciation Week. Whereas school board clerks throughout the Commonwealth are appointed by law to fulfill their duties and responsibilities, and whereas school board clerks are responsible for keeping accurate records of the meetings and proceedings of the local school board, a record of all receipts and disbursements as a record of official acts, and whereas school board clerks perform other duties in connection with the school business of his or her locality as may be required by the school board, and whereas school board clerks maintain frequent contact with the public, including parents, employees, the media, and on behalf of the school board and superintendent, and whereas school board clerks in the performance of their duties are often required to work extra hours attending school board meetings, and whereas school board clerks provide an invaluable service for the school board members and superintendents and help ensure the students achieve their highest potential. Now, therefore, I, Ralph S. North, do hereby recognize February the 18th, 22nd, 19 as School Board Clerk Appreciation Week in our Commonwealth of Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of all of our citizens. And I would like to add just a little bit to that. They do a lot more work than what's on this paper, believe me. Thank you, ladies. Next, we have the School Board Counseling Appreciation, Dr. Monroe.
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins-Fells, members of the board, and Dr. Calvary. It is a plum-pleasing pleasure that Caroline County Public Schools and the Virginia Department of Education recognized professional school counselors during the week of February 4th through 8, 2019, as we celebrated National School Counseling Week. This year's theme, sponsored by the American School Counselor Association, was entitled School Counselors Providing Lessons For, and highlighted the tremendous impact school counselors have in helping students achieve school success and plan for the future. Our school counselors here in Caroline County Public Schools work with all students to remove barriers to learning by providing academic and career development interventions, along with psychological counseling and mental behavioral health supports. We applaud the meaningful work of our school counselors here in Caroline County Public Schools and appreciate the work they do to ensure all Caroline students are successful in school as well as in life. We would also like to thank Donovan Miller from Grand Canyon University and Germanna Community College for sponsoring the Caroline County Public School Counselor Roundtable Breakfast last Thursday, February 7th. So at this time, our counselors are not here this evening because we want to give them the time to spend with their family, but can we give our counselors a round of applause? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Monroe. Next, we have Ms. Dolly Lindsay, recognition of Black History Month.
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the board, Dr. Kaverick. We're excited that Caroline County recognizes the month of February as Black History Month. The board recognizes the legacy and achievements of African Americans that made immense contributions to Caroline, to our Commonwealth and country during Black History Month. Schools in Caroline County provide opportunities for students to learn about the rich cultural and historical heritage through literature, fine arts, and lessons and activities. The Celebrating Black History Month information is available on our website and provides a list of activities and events for schools and the community. We also have a superintendent's memo, #02419, that provides resources for teachers and schools to promote Black History Month and the study of Black history all year long. So we are welcome and we're thankful that we have a recognition of Black History Month for the month of February. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lindsay. Next on our agenda, we have the Pathways 2022 Spotlight, Goal 1.2, Digital Conversion. Dr. Jones and Mr. Bowman and Mrs. Howard.
Good evening. Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Felds, member of the board, and Dr. Kaverick. In alignment with the strategic plan Pathways 2022, tonight we will provide updates on Goal 1.2 digital conversion. And as you can see, I have a large number of students and helpers over there on my right. In addition to students from CMS and CHS, I also have ITRT Karen Morris from CMS and the ITRT Joseph Robinson from CHS. So we have a little treat at the end, and you'll see when we get there. All right, the first update that I want to provide for you is the student survey. So the student survey was administered in the fall to students in grades 6 through 12. Overall, there were 177 responses. The topics covered in the survey included digital citizenship, Google Apps, offline access, device distribution, charging, repair, and connectivity. Students were asked specific questions which related to the content covered in the daily lessons completed following the distribution of student devices. Above are images taken from the survey responses referencing home usage and connectivity. So if you look up there, I brought my reading glasses. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to see it, but on the slide on the left, it shows how often student issues devices are used at home. And so this was in late October, about a month plus after students got their devices. And so about 56% of the students said that they use them a few times a week. and about 24% said they used them every day, and then we did get a few nevers in there, about 20%. And then on the right side, we asked them, do you have connectivity at home? And of the 176 responses, about 85% of the students that responded do have connectivity at home for their devices. Teachers at Caroline Middle School and Caroline High School were given the opportunity to complete a survey in late October. There were 68 responses. The teacher survey was much shorter than the student survey, but covered similar topics. These topics included digital citizenship, Google Drive, the distribution process, and student usage like charging, bringing devices to school, and connectivity. In addition to these topics, teachers were also polled on the frequency of Schoology usage in a week, as well as instructional usages of Schoology in their classroom. So if you look at the slide on the left, it's how many times a week do you use Schoology? And again, this was administered in October, approximately about a month and a half after teachers got devices. And so 41% said daily, so 5 days a week. 25% said 4 to 3 times a week, and then about 25% were less than 3. So, you know, we asked them to use it about 3 days a week in instruction. And then on the right side, it says, how primarily do you use Schoology in instruction? And about 33% said they used it for the warm-up primarily, about 33% for quizzes and tests, and about 39% for practice, and then just the whole entire lesson was about 31% of the respondents. It's important to note both students and teachers will complete an additional survey in the spring, so we may assess these areas again at the conclusion of the year. So we're giving the survey in October, and then I expect probably late April, maybe early May, we start testing right around that time, so we'll also be administering the survey then as well.
To continue our one-to-one implementation in grades 6 through 12, this year we were able to add 10 digital champions in grades 4 and 5. They began meeting in July 2018, where they received their initial Schoology training provided by our own ITRTs. This professional collaboration continued through January 2019. The teachers completed online modules in Schoology, incorporated blended learning and instruction, and completed a book study reading The Innovator's Mindset by George Couros. To support the one-to-one conversion, a one-to-one advisory committee was added this year. The one-to-one advisory committee provides information and guidance to support a one-to-one blended and personalized learning environment to ensure college and career readiness for all of our students. The collaborative meetings include teachers, ITRTs, students, parents, administrators, board members, and community members. The committee has met twice this year, and we have focused on internet connectivity at home, school, and in the community, student usage, fees, and the code of conduct, the Tech Care Student Help Desk Center, and an innovation award designed to highlight teachers who integrate technology to advance student learning. The next meeting is scheduled for April the 10th, 2019 at 4:30 at Caroline High School. At this meeting, we plan to explore funding options, business partnerships, and grants.
Good evening, Chairperson Spalding, Vice Chairperson Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the board, and Dr. Calvert. We come to you tonight to share a few tips, if you will, that may facilitate using the Chromebook you have been provided by the school division. Please know that these tips apply to all Chromebooks, not just this specific brand or model. Facilitating us in the process are some dedicated students from both Caroline High School and Caroline Middle School. We have Isabella, Ashley from the high school, and Layla, Emily, and Rebecca from the middle school. Displayed on each monitor are short videos playing the 4 basic tips you are going to demonstrate on your devices. These videos were provided by Karen Morris, an ITRT at Caroline Middle School. A document will be shared with each of you at the conclusion of this evening should you need it for further assistance. Before we begin, please stop me at any time should you need further clarification or have a question. everybody seems to be paired up. All right, first is a screenshot. Unlike a Windows computer, there is no print screen key on the Chromebook. Therefore, to take a screenshot, press the Control key and the Show Windows button. The Show Windows button is best described as a square with 3 lines on the right side, located on the top row about midway across. Notice, once you take the screenshot, another window appears in the bottom, allowing you to annotate, save, or delete the image. For this purpose, we are going to delete the image. All right. Second is a partial screenshot. There may be times that you can think of where you may like an image of a particular part of the screen rather than the entire screen. To do this, press the Control key, Shift key, and Show Windows key. Again, the Show Windows key is on the top row about midway across. Once pressed, you will see a small crosshair that can be moved to an area on your screen. To activate capturing a portion of the screen, click the mouse, hold and drag, covering the area you want to capture. Release the mouse and the same window appears in the bottom as with the full screenshot. All right. Next is splitting your screen. There are times that you would like to work in 2 different windows without minimizing one to get to the other. Essentially, you want them to take up equal space to work on at the same time. To perform this task, you will need 2 tabs open on your Chromebook. For the sake of continuity, let's open the division website, www.ccps.us. www.ccps.us. And since next month being March, let's open www.espn.com. Because who doesn't want to work and watch the NCAA tournament at the same time? With those 2 tabs open, press the Alt key and the left bracket key located near the P key. Notice that the entire screen moves to the left side, leaving even amount of space on the right. Next, click on the second tab you have open and drag it a small amount to remove being nested next to the other tab. Once complete, press the Alt key and the right bracket key, and the window will fill in the empty space on the right side of your screen. As you can see, you have 2 windows open at the same time with equal amount of workspace, which means you can cheer on the teams in your bracket while getting quality work done at the same time. Multitasking at its best.
This is awesome.
Finally, there are many shortcuts besides these that a Chromebook can perform. There may be others you are thinking of that we did not cover. Therefore, we are going to show you how to display the entire shortcut list for a Chromebook with a search option should you wonder about any others. To display the entire shortcut list, press the Control key, Alt key, and the question mark key. As you can see, there are various categories on the left to choose from that will display the various shortcuts in the center of the window. Also, there is a search box at the top should you be looking for something specific. This concludes our brief tips that we wanted to share with you tonight. Please take the time to thank each of the students that were by your side to assist you and facilitate me as I talk through each step in the process. We would like to thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the agenda tonight and for each of your service to Caroline County Public Schools.
Let's give our students a hand for those helpful tips.
I would say thank you, Joe, but you made me work too hard, so I'm not going to thank you. Next, we have on our agenda citizen comments. If you have signed up front, please come up now.
The Caroline High School robotics team can come forward. And as you're coming forward, just a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the school board. We are the Caroline High School Robotics Team. Team 778 Additionally, for community involvement, we have worked on looking for sponsors, and we've been doing this for a while now. And on top of that, we're also reaching out to the community, doing everything we can to help them. For example, we are teaching coding classes. We will be teaching coding classes. We will be mentoring a STEM program in middle school. On top of this, we'll also be helping with freshman transition. That is all. Thank you for your time. Go Cavs.
Thank you, Joe.
Mr. Chairman, we also have Catherine Byers, and she is going to speak on the Washington Journalism and Media Conference.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Byers, and I'm a junior at the Caroline High School. I've been the first to be selected to represent Caroline High School in our amazing state of Virginia as a National Youth Correspondent for the Washington Journalism and Media Conference in Washington, D.C. I have been selected based upon my academic record, my cumulative GPA, my active involvement in my community, and my sincere interest in journalism and media. Ever since I was 12 years old, I've dreamed of being a meteorologist or a news reporter, and with me going to this conference, it will be a push forward for me going. As a national youth correspondent, I'll be recognized as one of the most promising leaders of our nation in the journalism, and I will also be recognized for taking part in educational seminars and interacting with some of the biggest media industry leaders. And in addition, I'll be receiving a college credit. Attending this conference will not only benefit me, but it will also benefit Caroline High School, as I am holding multiple seats in multiple clubs, including JRTC, Beta, and SCA. With me attending this conference, I plan on coming back to Caroline High School and presenting every leadership skill. I also plan on presenting my abilities and what it truly means to be a news reporter. So what I am asking of the Caroline County School Board is for your sponsorship and support with the remaining cost of this trip with a financial contribution of $2,100. I have contacted multiple organizations, and up to this date, I've had no financial contributions. I am hoping you will consider sponsoring me for the majority of this cost. I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Congratulations, young lady.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no other comments at this time.
And I apologize, I cannot recall your name. Shout that out for me.
Catherine Byers.
Catherine, I know that you have been working hip to hip with Dr. Monroe regarding this endeavor. I wish you well, but I also hope that you have had a recent conversation regarding a potential opportunity not only to be immersed in the news media world, but also a financial incentive associated with the Caroline Humane Society. And so I hope that that's appealing to you, and our ability to network with our community partners will be advantageous for your future. We look forward to the greatness that you're going to bring back to us.
Mr. Chair, I have a point of information. The gentleman that came up from the robotics club, my question is, are they asking for sponsorship or funding?
We are indeed. Come back to the mic. We are.
Pardon?
Come on up to the mic.
Yeah, come to the
Use the mic.
Sorry. We are indeed looking for sponsorship and funding at the moment.
Right now, there's no sponsorship at the high school for you?
No.
What amount of funding are you looking to? What's your fundraising goal?
Our fundraising goal is to be able to cover the cost of the competitions, which are about $95 a piece. State competition is, I think, $300, and we also need money for parts. Additionally, every single competition, we have to get a new field so we can program and effectively compete in every single competition. And that tends to be a lot of money, like around $1,000. That's how much a class will cost.
Okay, thank you, and congratulations to you guys as well. And just like Dr. Calveric said, if you
moving right along, we go into the consent agenda. Need a vote, approval of school board meeting minutes, January the 17th, 19, approval of joint board session, January the 22nd, 19 minutes, approval of school board budget workshop, February 6, 2019, approval of monthly bills, financial reports, approval of donations, and approval of homeschool requests. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second. Any questions? Call for the vote. Okay, moving right along, we're into the action items. First one we have is the second reading of the 2019-20 instructional calendar. Dr. Jones?
Good evening, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fales, board members, and Dr. Calvary. Tonight I am presenting the 2019-2020 instructional calendar for approval.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of the 2019-2020 instructional calendar.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussion?
I'd like to just say one thing about the calendar. I know a lot of work, time went into it for a lot of people, and a lot of compromise. I'd like to thank everybody on there. And there's pictures behind me. But I just wanted to acknowledge all the hard work and time that went into it. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Call for the vote.
I would like to, at this time, if there are any calendar committee members present, please stand.
Next action item we have is the request of Virginia Seal for Excellence in Science and the Environment. Dr. Monroe?
Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fels, members of the board, and Dr. Calverick. This evening, I am sharing the Virginia Seal for Excellence in Science and Environment requirements. The Virginia Board of Education's Seal for Excellence in Science and the Environment shall be awarded to students who earn either a standard diploma or advanced studies diploma and complete at least 3 different first-level board-approved laboratory science courses and at least 1 rigorous advanced level or post-secondary level laboratory science course, each with a grade of a B or higher. Complete laboratory or field science research and present that research in a formal jurid setting and complete at least 50 hours of voluntary participation in community service or extracurricular activities that involve the application of science, such as environmental monitoring, protection, management, or restoration. Mr. Wick, principal at Caroline High School, and Ms. Mallory McMullen, school counseling director, have created a pathway document that fully meets the criteria that is described for the Virginia Seal for our inaugural class of 2022. The pathway document created by Mr. Wick and Mrs. McMullen has been uploaded into Board Docs for your review. And in addition, for the Virginia BDOE's criteria and checklist that has all of the requirements that I just explained in my aforementioned explanation. In order to include the Virginia Seal of Excellence in Science and the Environment criteria in our program of studies for 2019-2020, I kindly request the board to waive a second read and call for a vote of approval this evening.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve Virginia Seal for Excellence in Science and the Environment.
second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, call for the vote. Is there something else? Oh, new business. New business. First reading update on VSBA policy. Search and seizure, Dr. Monroe.
Good evening again, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the school board, and Dr. Calveric. Tonight we bring updated policy JFG, search and seizure, to you for review. Policy JFG, search and seizure, specifically states, this policy outlines the procedures for search and seizure on school property. The following areas are highlighted in the policy: personal searches, locker and desk searches, automobile searches, canines, also known as police dogs, computer searches, consent searches. Tonight, the focus is canines. That is the highlighted area. The policy has been updated to reflect the use of police dogs or canines while inspecting on school property. Police dogs will be with their attending officer while on school property. Inspections of students, lockers, desks, backpacks, instrument cases, handbags, and anything else deemed appropriate by school personnel will be allowed. Again, this is first read for your review, and at this time I ask if the board has any questions.
No questions? Thank you, Dr. Monroe.
Thank you.
Next, we have first reading on new courses for the 19-20 year. Dr. Jones.
Good evening, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fells, board members, and Dr. Calveric. Tonight, I am presenting a first reading for two courses. The first request is from Caroline High School. It is Graphics 2. This class is targeted for all students interested in developing their computer graphics skills. It is focused on growing interest in the field of digital painting, animation, graphic design, and design in general. This course will allow students to use the Adobe Creative Suite and to develop their work-related skills in the graphics mass media market. The second request is coming from Caroline Middle School, Inventions and Innovations. Inventions and Innovations will be the second STEM elective course students can take at Caroline Middle School. The 7th grade class reviews and builds upon the 6th grade Introduction to Technology. Students learn how to invent products that solve problems. Are there any questions?
Any questions?
So Dr. Johnson, this meets your criteria, and we have space and staff to do it.
Yes, this course is just sort of extending the 6th grade course that is currently being offered. And with the way the numbers work for the electives, it's basically just an upgrade to some of the courses one of the courses that we would already be extending with 6th grade. So it's not going to require any new staff, either course. And with the high school course, we currently offer AP Art History, and we will still be able to offer that, but sometimes the numbers are low in AP Art History, and the Graphics Design course will provide more students access to complete, marketing skills.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Jones. Dr. Monroe, I didn't mean to shortchange you. Come on up. No play on words there.
But that was great. That was great. Since you feel that way, with all due respect, Chairman Spalding, I would like us to turn back for a moment to policy JFG, search and seizure. I just wanted to bring closure to that as well. I know that the board has had a moment, hopefully, to review, and being that we're moving into the spring, and being that adding the K-9s, it's something that the K-9s have always been here, but they've never been in a position through our policy to actually walk along the line where the students are queued up outside of the room and everything that was just explained. I would like to kindly ask the board to consider accepting this revised policy upon first reading.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of VSBA policy JFG, search and seizure, as presented.
Second.
Any questions on that? I have a question.
Yes, Chairman.
Excuse me.
I just want to ask you, is that actually in implementation now, and is actually occurring already?
No, it is not. When our search dogs come into the school, they do not search or walk past any of the children at all. The children come out, or the students come out into the hallway, and they stand in a straight line. The search dog goes into the classroom, and they perform whatever the appropriate search that they perform, and then the K-9s come out, and they go kind of off or down the hallway, and then the students re-enter the classroom. Under this revision to the policy, what would happen is when the students are in a queue outside of the classroom, the police officers would actually provide some education. And what they would do is they normally take a little bean bag that has some contraband in it, and they actually model for the kids how the dog can sniff out the contraband, so they get a little lesson. And what happens is the students are standing in a straight line, hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder, and the dog just passes on the front of the students and then passes behind the students, and they normally make 2 laps around the students. And then at that point, the actual piece of the student search has been completed. So it's not invasive, the dog does not touch the students at all, and again, the dog just kind of circumnavigates the line.
What will precipitate that happening?
When you say what will precipitate that happen?
What would cause you to bring a police dog in, line the students up, and have the police search, the dog search?
Well, it could be a possibility that a student may have contraband on them, and if so, that dog can sense it even if it's not on that student's person. So if it's in the clothing or hidden in the shoe or hidden in the undergarment, the dog would be able to detect that.
It is also not uncommon in the face of social media for the dogs to arrive at a school and the word to spread quickly through social media. So students have been known to pass any contraband to different locations, which then would not be associated with the type of K-9 search that we currently have available to us through policy. And the K-9 searches are done randomly. This is something that we orchestrate with the Sheriff's Department in terms of being able to monitor contraband within our schools to ensure safe environments.
That was the answer I was looking for, the random.
Yes, it is random.
Mr. Chairman, while I understand the mission here, and I'm an advocate of children being safe and our schools being drug-free, I have some reservation about approving this on the first read. I was going to follow up in the interim, and my concern lies in the fact that we need to have procedures outlined as to what happens if the dogs do discover something. And there's a statement in this policy
been around someone, but not necessarily themselves, have used or handled the stuff, but the smell is still on them. What is the criteria? What are you going to do about that? And number two, if you have students or children that are allergic to dogs, period, how are you going to justify having them stand in a hallway with the animal moving and they can have an attack, allergic reaction because of that dog?
Well, those are the details that we will consider. We can come back and have a further discussion on that. Those are excellent points. And those are things that I know that we now have quarterly meetings with the Caroline County Sheriff's Office, and those are some things that actually this week we can possibly find the answers to. What I would do, or what I kindly ask, is that if you all have questions or concerns, please feel free. I guess you could share them with Dr. Calveric and give us a chance to do that research so that we can come back and we can educate the board on any questions, concerns that you all may have around this policy.
We have a motion on the floor right now.
Correct. So we're still.
Has it been second?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Discussion. So we're going to call for the vote. We've had our discussion, right? All right, call for the vote. Yeah. Did it pass? Dr. Monroe, these are
Yes.
questions that will be asked, and we'll get back with you on this,
Excellent.
okay?
Thank you.
I know we have brought dogs in out there many times, many years and so forth, and we've yet to have any problems and so forth. So it's something that we want to keep on doing. It's just the idea of some of these things, we need a little more action. I mean, as far as
And Chairman
that sort of thing.
Spalding, that is absolutely
I was
acceptable.
wondering the same
That
thing
is fine.
about what Ms. Harris was saying there. If I'd been around someone that was smoking marijuana, and you know, that smoke is so penetrating anyway. If they was smelling on me, and I know those dogs are very sensitive when it comes to sniffing. But anyway, thank you.
And
We'll
thank
get back
you.
with it.
And we look forward to your questions.
Okay. All right, let's move right along here. We have the first reading of the superintendent's budget.
One more.
Point of order, it's the policy
I missed you again.
JJAC.
It's okay. Sometimes I'm often overlooked. It's
No, I'm
okay.
not gonna say anything this time. You've been up there so long, I thought you were part of the podium. Go ahead.
It's fine. Thank you, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Wallace-Felt, members of the board, and Dr. Calvert. This evening, we are actually bringing a revised policy again. Policy JJAC, Student Athletic Concussions During Extracurricular Activities. Would like to share both bullets, and I would like to share the changes as well. Bullet 1, policy JJAC defines concussions for student athletes and explains the protocol for removing a student from physical activity. Bullet 2 states that the protocol for return to play and return to learn for student athletes is outlined in the policy. The changes are as follows. 1, divisions were changed with developing policies and procedures regarding the identification and handling of suspected concussions in students that address the academic needs and gradual reintroduction of cognitive demands for students who have need determined to have a concussion. Conditions for a student athlete returning to play have been updated. All 4 conditions must be met before a student may participate in an athletic event. However, number 3 is the one that we really would like everyone to focus on because it talks about those non-athletes who may have a concussion that need to return to learn. It says regulation JJAC-R, concussions in students, has been written to address the phases of returning to learn. This regulation has been uploaded in board docs for your review.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Does this policy
It actually does not. But what we found is that we have procedures and we have already have extensive experiences with our student athletes. Where we find that this policy needed to come into play is there are non-athletes who have experienced concussions, and we have not held that process or protocol to the same level of attention as we do for our student athletes. With this policy, it will require our administration, school nurses, possibly even school counselors, and other teacher leaders to make sure that that concussion team come together to ensure the protocol listed here, as well as what was uploaded into board docs, goes into play so that non-student athletes have the same level of progression as far as re-entering to learn.
Right now, a student athlete who gets hurt tonight, who declares it's a concussion? Is our training group, do they have that ability to do so?
They can, yes, they have tests that they can run and questions that they ask and screenings that they may, it may be likely, or they can suspect that a student may have a concussion.
All right, and they've got to sit out how long?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but I do know that that is written somewhere. I do not have all of that in front of me, but there is a set protocol by the VHSL that spells out exactly what happens for a student athlete when a concussion is suspected or when it's confirmed. Yeah, but that doesn't.
Okay. Any other questions? Is that it?
That is it. Thank you, Chairman Spalding.
Thank you, Dr. Monroe. Next, we move to the first reading of the superintendent's budget presentation, FY20 proposal. Dr. Calvary.
Good evening, Chair Spalding, Vice Chair Dr. Rollins Fells, and members of the board. I'm pleased to be with you this evening to present the superintendent's proposed FY20 school budget. There are 4 major objectives we hope to accomplish during our presentation. Budget context, which will help anchor our budget requests through the lens of the strategic plan and past successes. The FY20 budget process and priorities. Financials provided by our Director of Budget and Finance, Marcia Stevens, will cover ADM, insurance, compensation, the governor's proposed budget, and revenues. We will close our time together with a brief overview of next steps in upcoming meetings. We will first begin by building budget context. Pathways 2022 is Caroline County Public Schools' 5-year strategic plan. Various stakeholder groups worked collaboratively during the 16-17 school year to develop Pathways 2022. This is year 2 of implementation, and the 4 overarching goals of teaching and learning, school and community relationships, health and safety, and organizational effectiveness serve as a guide for all the work that the division tackles. Our goal is to align all school, department, and division work with the efforts of these 4 goals to increase efficiencies, enhance achievement, and ensure we are strong stewards of human and fiscal resources. As we move throughout this evening's budget presentation, you will see direct correlation between the Pathways goals in past, present, and future celebrations, achievements, and priorities. The following highlights in the area of Goal 1, teaching and learning, will demonstrate our school's commitment to the advancement, productivity, opportunity, and achievement of our staff and students. While I will not highlight every item captured, I will take a moment to recognize Goal 1 teaching and learning moments that we are proud to share. The first I would like to draw your attention to is the Virginia Department of Education, as this is reflective of 80% of our schools, 4 out of 5 of our comprehensive buildings earning full state accreditation. While one building continues to strive for this accreditation, it's important to share that the building has attained Math SOL accreditation for the first time in 9 years and was shy of the English Language Arts benchmark by a few percentage points. We look forward to continued achievements during the 18-19 school year. Other hallmark moments relate to VASCD. Not only is a member of our senior leadership team on the state board, but Mrs. Therese Haley, Madison Elementary School principal, was named last month as one of 8 Virginia Impact Leaders. Within the past year, we also rolled out a 6 through 12 Chromebook initiative, trained staff on the K-12 profile of a graduate, and were selected as one of 26 division partners in the inaugural State Innovation Committee. Moving into successes associated with Goal 2, School and Community Relationship. While not an exhaustive representation of all partnerships, each of these businesses, civic organizations, and nonprofits support our schools and communities. Caroline's Promise collaborates with all 5 schools to provide resources, volunteerism, mentorship camps, leadership skills, and entrepreneurial opportunities to our students. MC Dean provides high school students with apprenticeships and jobs post-graduation. Grand Canyon provides reduced course costs and financial support of multiple events. Germanna supports our dual enrollment programs and our CTE programming. Value City provides training on interview skills and job opportunities for students who are 18. And the YMCA offers summer programming, second grade swim program, after-school programming, and leadership retreat support. Taking a closer look at Goal 3, Health and Safety Successes. Health and safety incorporates mental health and wellness, safety, and facility management. Reflected on this slide are a number of mental health partnerships that work in our schools as well as in the Caroline community, such as RACSB, Intercept, and Dominion Day, VTSS, which is Virginia Tiered System of Supports, Mind Up, and Rachel's Challenge. Both programs create safe school environments that support students' social emotional learning and overall health of the whole child. Our partnership with the Sheriff's Office partnered with the work of our SHAB and Safe and Drug-Free Schools committees ensures continuous improvements in school student and staff safety. Finally, completion of 2 major school renovations as well as energy management upgrades are supporting modernization and maintenance of our various facilities. Our fourth and final success document, focusing on Goal 4, Organizational Effectiveness, incorporates strategic planning, financial management, and human resources. We are pleased to have recent demographic and compensation studies to inform our practices and budgetary requests. The integration of Talent Ed and RDA Financial Solutions has created greater efficiencies and access. Purposefully planning the composition of our recruiting teams and selection of universities serves as a mechanism to continue enhancing the diversity within our staff and administrative teams. And finally, continuing to work collaboratively with Caroline County will ensure that our students have the experiences necessary to be college and career ready. We will now transition into the FY20 budget process and priorities. Since October, CCPS has engaged in a wide array of budget-related education and awareness advocacy activities. Noted in the blue circles are a wide array of events that have occurred since the month of October. We have visited each school and department and held meetings. We have constructed our first inaugural budget advisory committee consisting of various stakeholders. We have a number of superintendent advisory committees that we have met and shared our budget priorities with and have afforded them the opportunity to share their voice with us regarding our FY20 budget. We have lobbied through legislative priorities that we drafted as a Caroline County School Board. We have spoken with a variety of legislators regarding these priorities, and we have also sent a small delegation of Caroline staff members to the Red for Ed March in Richmond. And finally, we are committed to keeping our staff abreast of updates associated with the FY20 budget through our monthly budget newsletters. Our budget process is intentional and deliberate, and we break our steps into 4 key phases. Phase 1 involves the capital improvement plan. Phase 1 also requests that each department, as well as our 5 comprehensive schools, begins to evaluate their needs, and they submit those to us for review, and we bring those to all of our stakeholders so that we can sort those into 3 components of mandatory, critical need, and desired. We also invite our Budget Advisory Committee to review all of these priorities as well as insurance opportunities to provide us with insight that helps guide us in moving forward with the complete package of our new FY20 budget that we will present this evening to you and tomorrow to the Board of Supervisors. We, of course, evaluate in Phase 2 all of the internal and external factors that are deeply rooted in our ability to move forward with a fiscally responsible budget. And some of those factors are compensation, health insurance, average daily membership, and of course, the revenue sources coming from the state. Phase 3 is associated with lobbying and visiting with our legislators, and I'm excited to report that not only have I had this wonderful opportunity and some of our staff members by attending the Red for Ed March, but our school board also, through VSBA, has had an opportunity to sit hip to hip with legislators and share our key priorities for our students and our school system. In Phase 3, we also received the governor's budget. This occurs around the 3rd week of December, and we are able to use the template to begin estimating what the cost associated with our new fiscal budget will be. And then finally, Phase 4 is the phase that we are currently in, where we conduct a wide array of budget workshops and presentations throughout our school community. And we also work in partnership with the locality to ensure that they are cognizant of what we're bringing forward and have a strong understanding of the data that is used to bring forward the needs-based budget. And finally, we will close out the process with budget presentations and public hearings where the community has an opportunity to come forward and share their voice. The document before you is reflective of the multiple stakeholders who have participated in the budget process. Specifically, it relates to the activity that these stakeholders participated in where the prioritization of the 58 budget requests was submitted. As you can see before you on this chart, we began with 15 high priority ideas that we brought forward and calculated the cost associated with each of these items, as well as the impact on teaching and learning and the correlation to Pathways 2022, because we want to bring forward items that are in support of our strategic plan. The items noted in the white will be spoken about specifically in the next few slides, but I do want to point out that we are doing due diligence and consistently reflecting upon our priorities. And so the items in red have been identified as items that we will be removing as we move forward with the budget process. We have identified various reasons for the removal of these items. Specifically, in the realm of health and PE, a request for 1 teacher at the middle school. We have worked with the Department of Human Resources and calculated the numbers in relation to standard of quality and have found that we are currently in compliance with this new state regulation and therefore no longer need this FTE to be allocated. We had requested alternative education teacher and paraeducator to join our team to support social emotional learning and behavioral interventions. And we have removed this from the table at this point because we have a number of other positions that we believe will serve as wraparound supports and hopefully will enable us to assist our students with flourishing in their home school. We also have removed the VPI initiative curriculum, Virginia Preschool Initiative, and this still will be moved forward with. We've identified an alternate pot of funding that will enable us to complete this initiative. The next 3 items noted are IT related, and we too have identified alternative funding sources, and therefore that leaves us with the 10 items noted in white, which truly reflect human resources with the exception of compensation as well as the roofing repairs. To get into greater detail associated with each of those items, we believe it's important to provide you with some background information as to why these needs have been identified and how they will positively impact our school environments. We are requesting 4 classroom teachers, 2 English and 2 math, specifically at Caroline Middle School. This is based on accreditation status. Caroline met the accreditation benchmark for math for the first time in 9 years this past school year, and they're just shy in the area of English. To assist them in meeting this benchmark, we believe that we need to reduce our class size from 26:1 to 21:1 with the additional 4 FTEs. This also will have a positive impact on our varying subgroups who we're monitoring closely through the ESSA requirement. We also believe firmly that an additional ITRT will help complete our 4 current positions. We have 5 comprehensive schools and 4 instructional technology resource teachers, with 1 being split between Bowling Green Elementary and Madison Elementary School. While Rebecca Schieber is dynamite and is capable of spending half time at both facilities, we want to be able to maximize the growth of STEM in all of our schools, as well as we are mandated during the 1920 school year to begin teaching computer science standards. I have shared before that having an ITRT within each building will assist all of our teachers in meaningful integration of computer science standards so that it is viewed as supplemental enhancements to the curriculum that they are teaching within the classroom. We are looking to add a school improvement specialist to our team. A school improvement specialist is charged with testing coordination at the high school, as well as data analysis, monitoring interventions, and enrichment opportunities for our students. Currently, testing is being overseen by our testing guru, and that is our Director of Counseling, Mallory McMullen. The governor has proposed that counselors are able to spend 80% of their time side by side with students, and this duty that is currently undertaken by Ms. McMullen and an assistant principal is preventing that 80% to be achieved. And so we are hoping that the additional staff member at the high school will support counseling endeavors as well as support the amount of testing that occurs at the high school, which is important to recognize. SOL testing in the fall, in the spring, and in the summer. We have AP testing, SAT testing, PSAT testing, and CTE testing, which occurs throughout the year for credentialing and certification purposes. Under Goal 2, School and Community Relationships, we're asking for 1 additional FTE, the Student Support Specialist. We currently have 3 Student Support Specialists that service 5 comprehensive schools plus the CDLC. The major focus areas of this role are chronic absenteeism, as well as risk assessments, family and agency liaison, court representative, community and family engagement, attendance policy implementation, and mentorship programs. I wanted to provide you with some data to support the need of this additional position. If you'll draw your attention to chronic absenteeism, you will see that the most recent figures shared with us through the VDOE are the items noted in the second bullet. Bowling Green's most recent chronic absenteeism, which was a 3-year average, was 36.62%. That means that 36% of their student population missed 10% or more of the school year, which equates to about 17 days or more. Lewis and Clark had a 13%, Madison 31.69%, CMS 15.68%. Middle schoolers love to come to school. They love that socialization opportunity. And the high school, 19.73%. I also think it's important for you to be aware of where we stand associated with risk and threat assessments. The 17-18 data for the division document 97 risk assessments, 21 threat assessments, 10 FAPT, 8 truancy cases, 121 therapeutic day treatment students, 7 hospitalizations, and 5 Caroline County Sheriff Office emergency custody orders. That's what ECO stands for. So we keep our 3 student support specialists very busy, and there is a desperate need for a 4th to assist all of these students and families in need. Looking at health and wellness, Goal 3 under the strategic plan, there are 2 areas that we are focusing on for the FY20 budget. The first is behavioral specialist. We are hoping to bring on board a behavioral specialist that will help grow our students' self-regulatory skills. Their social-emotional and behavioral growth would be positively impacted by the addition of this position. This person is also someone that would be well-equipped to create individualized behavior plans that are highly differentiated for each student's profile. And finally, this person would work closely with Bowling Green Elementary School, who has just embraced and adopted a new social-emotional curriculum called Mind Up. The division is embracing a grant that we received for Virginia Tiered System of Supports. We also run concurrent to that PBIS, which is Positive Behavioral Intervention Supports, and this behavioral specialist would serve as a key leader of both of those programs, as well as a liaison to RACSB services. The second item under health and wellness, Goal 3, is roof maintenance. We have 3 buildings, facilities that have 50-year roofs, and in order to maintain and gain access to the longevity of those roofs, there are small maintenance aspects that each requires. Normally, we would request this through our traditional capital improvement plan process. However, there is a $50,000 threshold, and this item does fall below that. So therefore, we are asking for an operational commitment of $45,000, which would then be placed within a new budget line item called capital outlay. And our final request associated with our initial 15 priorities falls under organizational effectiveness, and this pertains to employee compensation. Of course, compensation is a large driving factor to the recruitment of high-quality teachers as well as the retention. We are sandwiched among some highly successful divisions, and we want to be able to compete in that market in relation to salary. And so we conducted a compensation study with Evergreen LLC, which documented that our current salaries are well below minimum market value. This was done through a comparison of a regional analysis, which Ms. Stevens will share in an upcoming slide with you. We were able to implement year 1 of the study last year, which did increase the teacher's salary to $40,600. That's a 0 year of experience starting salary, and we're hoping that year 2 will be implemented, which will then raise a new teacher's salary to $41,800. But as Mrs. Stevens will share, this still places us in 9th place out of 9 regional competitors. The cost associated with this employee compensation request in totality is $1,026,229, minus the net state monies, which Governor Northam has allocated in his proposed budget as $663,485, which leaves a local dollar request of $362,744. At this time, I'm going to pass the podium over to Ms. Stevens, and she will begin to provide you with greater detail associated with financials in relation to the governor's budget, ADM, compensation, and health insurance.
The first financial item that I'll be discussing is the governor's budget. When Governor Northam introduced his budget, he came out with $268.7 million of new monies for K-12. He increased the at-risk funding per pupil for $35 million. He also had a supplemental lottery per pupil increase, another $35 million. School funding for school safety and SRO training, $3.3 million. Low interest loans for school construction, $80 million. A 5% increase for SOQ funded positions. And phase 1 of 3 for funds for school counseling in the amount of $36 million. The details of his specific items in the governor's budget he proposed includes the additional amount of $663,485 across all funds. The net increase includes the new funding associated with all his initiatives, as well as a reduction to the ADM used in projecting the budget. In FY20, CCPS budgeted ADM is reduced by a membership of 64 over prior year budgeted ADM, which I'll go further in on the next slide. It's important to note also that while Governor Northam placed an emphasis in his budget proposal on K-12 education, the crossover took place last week. In the Senate amendments, CCPS saw a reduction of $169,000 in the governor's proposed increase, and in the House amendments, the CCPS projects a reduction of $42,000 in the governor's proposed increase. We'll continue to monitor the remaining 2 weeks of the session, and the General Assembly will reconvene on April 3rd. CCPS has been monitoring the ADM used to project the state funding for the budget and comparing it to the actual funding as of March 31st of each year. As you can see by the chart, there the ADM with the actual budget ADM versus the actual ADM has been decreasing each year. In review of the past 3, 4, and 5-year ADM trend, the FY20 budgeted ADM is being reduced by 64, and the state revenues are being projected using a budgeted ADM of 4076. This next slide includes an ADM region comparison. It's important to emphasize that the reduction of ADM not only is within CCPS, but across Region 3. As noted, 9 of 15 highlighted in red divisions are experiencing an ADM decrease. Additionally, this trend is evident across the state, with the ADM decreasing by over 9,000 students for the FY20 state projections. It should be noted also that many of the localities experience the ADM decreases are rural communities. CCPS is a member of the Coalition of Small and Rural Schools, the Virginia affiliated of the NREA, the National Rural Education Association, and will join other rural divisions on Wednesday at the Rural Caucus Senate Subcommittee in Richmond. The coalition will emphasize how important the at-risk add-on funds is to the rural school divisions, as it enables high-poverty school divisions to receive additional funding that often rural localities don't have the capacity to provide. The Commonwealth Institute, the Education Law Center with Rutgers University, and a recent study specifically related to funding of schools who are members of the coalition by the Curry School of Education of the University of Virginia have all compiled the data that substantiates our request to increase the cap of the at-risk add-on funding. In order to ensure that CCPS and other rural divisions return to economic prosperity and that the citizens that live in our communities have an opportunity to thrive, leaders in these rural communities must unite to ensure that rural students have the same opportunities as their more affluent and suburban peers. In FY18, in May of 2018, FY18, CCPS conducted a compensation study through Evergreen Solutions, LLC. CCPS proposed to implement the recommended compensation adjustments in a 3-year phase. In 18-19, the implementation of phase 1 with the starting teacher salary of $40,600. In phase 2 would increase the starting teacher salary to $41,800. And in phase 3 for the next year, FY21, to $42,672. Even with the full implementation of phases 2 and 3 over the next 2 fiscal years, these increases align solely with Evergreen's minimum market value recommendation when the study was performed in spring of 2018, but do not account for the other localities continuing their salary increases around us. As a result, without continued investment in compensation beyond Evergreen's recommendation, CCPS will continue to fall below the increased minimum market value. Instructional SOQ positions, the state has us defined as types of positions of regular education, SPED, remedial, gifted, CTE, principals, librarians, and counselors. The instructional support SOQ positions include assistant superintendent, clerical, maintenance, and technology positions. The funding of SOQ compensation is extremely complex and requires the use of the state's prevailing rate combined with the portions of each SOQ support position based on the SOQ standard. Included within your budget process or your resources tonight is a chart that shows you how the SOQ funding position takes place. The cost of total compensation for phase 1 and phase 2 is $1.8, almost $1.9 million. The state funding that the governor has proposed and was actually decreased minor by the Senate and decreased larger by the House is $829,000. The remaining local support is $1.0 million. This is a local support requirement of 55.8% for this compensation increase, with the state supporting 44.2%. As you can see from the 2018 and 19 salary comparisons with the surrounding districts, Caroline County is 9th out of 9 divisions in the beginning teacher salaries. CCPS ranks 5th at the midpoint and 7th at the top of our scales. Additionally, as we see increases in our scales, the surrounding counties continue to raise their scales. We will move on to the health insurance increases. While our average increase in health insurance over the past 3 years has been 4%, when the medical trend typically runs 10% in the industry, our plan has seen several very large claims in the past couple of years which have impacted the renewal rates. While we are still awaiting the renewal of our health insurance plan for the coming year, our health insurance consultant, using underwriting analysis of the claims, is predicting a large increase for FY20. As we move forward in the budget process, we are currently projecting a 15% increase for FY20. We understand that such large increases are certainly not physically sustainable, and thus the division is exploring ways to minimize the impact on the locality. CCPS has been working on creating options to mitigate the health insurance increase. While we understand that health insurance is a critical component of our benefit package, we also recognize that Key Advantage Expanded Plan is a premier or platinum plan that is not physically sustainable for our future. Option A on our health insurance options allows us to keep the existing plans with a projected 15% increase and phases out over a 3-year period the Family Plus Children tier to have them come in as a family tier. The cost of this option to CCPS is $748,000. Option B eliminates the Premier plan, maintains our current 250 plan, and adds a Key Advantage 500 plan. It also includes the phase out over a 3-year period of the Family Plus Children tier, and the estimated cost for the employer is $251,000. The adoption of option B will align CCPS with other surrounding school districts and private sectors. As with any adjustments to health insurance, multiple opportunities for educating employees would be offered to ensure each insurance participant understands the impact of the plan and the premium changes. We anticipate the renewal package from the local choice by late February and will continue to provide updates as they are received. With all the information from the governor's budget and the health insurance options and our top 10 priorities that are included in the budget process, I'll go over the operational expenditures in detail. The operational expenditures increase under option A. It includes the compensation for phase 2 of the compensation study. The new positions also presented earlier by Dr. Calvert, and a 15% increase in our health insurance under the existing plans. The option increases expenditures by $2.3 million, or 5.4% increase for our operational budget. The operational expenditures increase under option B includes also the compensation increase for phase 2, the new positions also presented earlier, the 15% of health insurance increase, but however, the elimination of the Key Care expanded plan with the introduction of the Key Care 500 plan and the phase out of the employees plus children plan tier. This option increases our expenditures by $1.8 million, or 4.2% increase for the operational budget. As you will see in the chart above, the instructional line of $1.7 million under option A and $1.3 million under option B have a 70% increase of the total budget for the increase is instructional. I will go over the operational revenues. Under Governor Northam's proposed budget, there's a net increase in state revenues for the operational fund in an amount of $669,068. For FY19 budget, there was also an appropriation of one-time funding from the Anthem funds of $300,000, which must be removed from our projections for FY20. Under option A, the revenue gap is $1.9 million. And under option B, the revenue gap is $1.4 million. We understand that these revenues are based on projections presented by the governor, and the crossover calls for less money to be received by CCPS from the state. The budget process is streamlined with Pathways 2022 and is the consolidation of many stakeholders' input and resulted in many instructional priorities outlined in the budget. This slide is to show the details of the funding gaps of the FY20 budget. In the development of the FY20 budget, the baseline adjustment had a decrease of $74,000. That's taking over and making adjustments for our old staff that may have left Caroline, bringing in our new staff, and making the adjustments on any health insurance changes. This compensation increase, the compensation increases a net of $362,000, net of the governor's proposed revenues. As part of the FY20 budget development, we've also removed that one-time Anthem monies, and the 8 new positions is $541,000. The capital outlay for the roof is $45,000, and option A increase on health insurance is $748,000, and option B is the $251,000. So this gives a detailed description of what the funding gap of 1.9 and 1.4 equate to. For the special funds, we're projecting a small increase in the mentor grant and a small decrease in the project graduation. Both of these grants are state supported, and the food service fund is showing a minor decrease in state funding. The textbook fund is also expected to have minor decreases in state and local funding.
As we move throughout the remainder of the budget season, there are a number of next steps that we will undertake. The first is to solidify the local choice insurance increase toward the end of the month. We will keep CCPS staff abreast of budget and insurance updates. We will monitor General Assembly and Governor's budget proposal. We will conduct joint work sessions with the Board of Supervisors, and we will attend county budget presentations and public hearings. We encourage all Caroline County community members to be engaged through education, awareness, and advocacy, and share with you some upcoming dates of importance. Tomorrow evening, February 12th, is the CCPS presentation of the superintendent's budget to the Board of Supervisors. February 28th is the Caroline County Planning Commission CIP public hearing. March 12th is Caroline County Administrator's budget presentation to the Board of Supervisors, and March 26th is the Caroline County public hearing. We hope that you are able to join us for one or many of these events. At this time, we'll take any questions.
Any questions from the board? No, sir. I don't think so. Thank you, ladies. We'll now move to information items. The first one is a monthly update on ADM. Ms. Stevens.
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Rollins, fellows members of the boards, and Dr. Calvera. I'm here to present the January ADM monthly tracking report. We did see an increase in January up to 4027. I had been contacted by some of the schools that they were seeing an influx of students coming in January, so we will gladly accept them in. I'm still estimating the budget to be short for the ADM on actual versus budget for March 31st of approximately 50 students. Are there any questions on the ADM board report?
No questions. All right. Update on revenues and expenditures.
Chairman Spalding, Vice Chair Rollins Fells, members of the board, and Dr. Calvera. I'm here to present the January financials for you. At this time, we have received 75% of our county local transfer, and we are showing that year-to-date revenues of $23.5 million or 55% of our budget. In addition, our year-to-date expenditures are at $22.5 million and 52.8% of our budget. Currently, I have some reimbursements for federal awaiting me for approval this week, so we will be seeing additional federal dollars in for the month of February. And we also received the November reports from the county last week, and staff is working on the reconciliations. Are there any questions on the financial report?
Thank you, Ms. Stevens.
Thank you.
Next, we have Performance Energy Services for middle school. Mr. Honan.
Good evening, Chairman Spalding, Dr. Rollins Fells, members of the board, Dr. Calvera. I'm here tonight to update you on the progress of the project. As you saw last month, basically the fuel conversion part of the project is completed. Building envelope. This is all sort of stuff that's back behind the scenes that you don't really see, but you may have noticed some new door sweeps and astracals on the doors as you came in tonight, on the entrance doors and the doors around the perimeter of the building. But we sealed over 2,200 square inches of gaps around the exterior of the building. Applied over 1,700 feet of foam caulking in various penetrations and infiltration points around the building. And basically, at this point, we've completed most of the, we've completed the building envelope portion of the project. I've invited Sharon Foster, principal here at the school, to talk a little bit about the lighting. We basically, over 300 interior lighting fixtures have been upgraded. They're working as we speak on the hallway lighting fixtures, and the exterior lighting components are due in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you. Good evening. I did want to comment as well about the building envelope, just in terms of temperature for our students and our staff members. It has made a significant impact where students and staff are not too cold during the winter months, where before it was palatable and they were having difficulties in their classroom teaching and learning. So we do thank you for those upgrades to the building envelope. In terms of lighting, what a difference the lumens have made in the classrooms. Teachers recognized that they were able to see better right as they were doing the swap. The biggest question was, when are we going to get those upstairs hallway lights? Well, as I came out of a PLC this afternoon, the workers were up there and already starting to convert our hallway lights which after the meeting this evening, I invite you to go and see that 6th grade hallway. I had a teacher that was at the far end of the hallway this evening, and I looked down the hallway and waved to her, and she was like, I can't believe I can see you. So, you know, when you talk about the variety of things, our 2 priorities at the middle school are that students are safe and they are learning. By having lights in the hallway where we can see end to end, that provides an extra measure of safety. And then, of course, the quality of learning in the classrooms where that appropriate light is there is making a world of difference.
Are there any questions on what we've done so far, or what we're at? The remaining items are to upgrade the control systems and add a plug load management system. So,
This doesn't have anything to do with what you're doing there, but since you're up there, could you check those doors going from the hallway into the lobby of the old gym when you get to the auditorium? Those things are pretty beat up. They look really raggedy. Now, I haven't seen them in a while. Have you worked on them or anything?
this is the doors from,
Those double doors that come from the hallway down by the band, and you go in those double doors to the lobby,
Yes, sir.
the old gym, and the auditorium. They look pretty ratty. Is there anything we can do to those things? Because we're going to have people in here in a couple of months from all these different other school systems and all. I hate for them to go through those doors looking like that. I'm just telling you ahead of time.
the high school. Yes, sir, we'll take a look at those. See if we can.
Check them out. I appreciate it. Any other questions?
I would just like to comment about the temperature up here on the stage. It's getting really drafty. It feels really nice. I imagine it's because of the work that you have done, but we have noticed the temperature change, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I wore a sweater tonight. I really don't need it. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Holman.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. We have board comments. We'll start down to my right, Ms. Harris. I don't have any. Ms. Bell, I know you did.
Of course I have board comments. So I just wanted to highlight some community events that I had the opportunity to participate in. The Polar Bear Plunge was a fundraiser for community organizations. And we had representatives from Lewis and Clark, Caroline Middle School, and Dr. Calveric was there as well. Ms. Foster, Brave the Cold. And in those efforts, that event raised over $20,000. And so I just wanted to thank our schools for coming out and supporting. I also wanted to mention that as a school board, we had the opportunity to attend the Capitol Conference, and that's where we received training and extensive updates on items that are in the legislative considerations right now, as well as being spotlighted by Region 3 as we are hosting the event coming in April. Just in particular, other divisions in Region 3 were very interested in what we're doing with Profile of a Graduate, how we organized our Meet the Legislator Day, and there were requests for our calendar. And so divisions were online on their tablets and cell phones looking at what we had done. On January 21st, the NAACP sponsored an MLK Day celebration, and I did want to recognize Mr. and Ms. Rock, who are the NAACP Vice President and Treasurer, and they are here in our meeting this evening. And so I just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you for your service to our community. The other event that I wanted to just thank our staff for participating in the Red for Ed, those that were representing us in the delegation, and for those who stayed behind, and for the school board who were in solidarity with that event. I also had the opportunity to go to Madison Elementary, where Ms. Haley and her staff had a curriculum night, and they hosted a Are You Smarter Than a Student on Kahoot, and I missed one question. I will be sure to get it right next time. But it was fun to see everybody engaged in using technology in that building. And then I also had the opportunity to spend quite a bit of time with Dr. Smith at Bowling Green Elementary. She was a gracious host. I was there for the budget overview with Dr. Calveric, and just wanted to show the staff staff did not know I was in the building, and in every classroom, there were small group activities, there were students on laptops, there were students on tablets, and I just thought that was phenomenal, and I wanted to give you recognition and honor where it's due. And then my last comment is in tribute to Black History Month. I would encourage all of our staff and students to take advantage of the information that Ms. Lindsay shared, and whether we're recognizing the contributions of the traffic light, the hot combs, cell phones, remote controls, irons, or the hidden figures that helped with NASA, we want to take a moment to also thank our legends from Caroline County who have served diligently here and have impacted lots of lives. And I'm speaking of folks like Ortaja Carnett, I'm talking about the Stanley Jones, and I'm talking about the Dolly Lindsays who have served here for many years. We thank you for your service, and I wanted to honor you in this moment. Thank you, and that concludes my board comments.
And I just have one comment. I just want to give a shout out to the middle school basketball, boys basketball team who did very well this year, and I had the honor to be able to go to the high school last week and see the last home game for the JV team and for the high school team, and they both were very successful this year. So very proud of our student athletes in the county. Thank you.
I have 16 points that I would like to make. Okay, I'll keep it short. Number one, we have wrestlers qualifying for states. I don't know if anybody's seen the video. It looks, and I'm not exaggerating, one of the videos looks like WWE, except it's not fake. And it is a teetotal butt whooping by a Cavalier. And if it's out there on Facebook, you should watch it. Number two, thanks so much to the children who came up here, the students for the Chromebook shortcuts. I'm ADHD enough as it is, and the ability to put extra stuff on the screen is probably not the best idea, but it's very practical in every other aspect of my life. Number three, because Ms. Foster, I talked to you before the meeting, because I put up on Facebook, if anybody has any things they'd like me to bring up, someone said field hockey at the middle school, and I've been approached by a couple of parents about this. The good news is, because Ms. Foster, as we all know, she reminded me that it costs money to run these programs. So I went and messaged this person on Facebook, so they're going to try to get a list of what they think the cost would be to run a field hockey program, and also what are some ways that we can go out and do some fundraising for that. Next, I'd like to thank everybody involved in the budget process, because I know that we've all done it and everyone here has done it, but specifically to Ms. Stevens and Dr. Calvert for the hours of time that you put into that. Also, I know, and this just came off the top of my head, the YMCA in Caroline is having a membership drive, and considering I'm just trying to put everything together, we're talking about our healthcare costs and how long-term we can start tackling some stuff now by having a healthier group of employees. And I'm not saying that we should all run off and join the YMCA, but they're doing a membership drive this month, and it's going to be really easy if we had anyone that can make a phone call and can get day passes for free. If anybody's interested, and I think that any gym membership would be beneficial for all of us. Lastly, I've been on this board for 8 years, and I cannot count the number of VSBA conferences I have been to, or the number of state school board members that I have been in contact with. This is a really good board for your school division, and I cannot compliment them enough for the work, the time, and the dedication that they have given to the children and the employees of Caroline County Public Schools. I don't know how many different conferences we have been to where we've seen, there'll be like 2 or 3 members from each school division there, and routinely all of us show up. So I would like to thank you for the work that you guys do on behalf of the employees and the students that we have here in the school division. And somebody, I guess it's a special recognition week, right? Reminded me to tell everybody that we do get an employee discount at the YMCA. So please look into that. Oh, is that you, Ms. Stevens? Marcia. All right, thank you. And that concludes my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Before we go into the superintendent's comments, I'd like to thank the folks who are behind all these gifts, these nice gifts that are up here. That's going above and beyond anybody's birthday, but we appreciate a handout, you know. Thank you very much. Let's go down with the superintendent's comments. I hope you have less than 16.
Chair Spalding, I do have a few brief items that I would like to share on behalf of our leadership team, specifically one that relates to a recent announcement that we received via email. We have been selected to be a participant in the inaugural Learners Innovation Network. This opportunity is being conducted through the Virginia Department of Education, the Virginia School Consortium for Learning, and James Madison University. It will afford our division and our 6-person team, which is comprised of building leaders, Dr. Jones, and our new director, Dr. Allen, as well as a parent, to attend professional development sessions. It will provide us opportunities to work with educational coaches from the University of Colorado. It will provide on-site coaching visits that are customized, personalized, and driven by the specific needs of each team. We will be participating in virtual seminars, and it will give us access to a digital platform that hosts and makes freely available artifacts developed by each team, and that over time will connect every Virginia division through the profile of a graduate. I do dare say that our application was evidence of the work that we have done in-house with Profile of a Graduate, and we hope to be able to contribute to the other 19 divisions, as well as learn from all of the goodness that they are preparing and bringing forward. My second announcement is an announcement of gratitude to County Line Baptist Church for their efforts in supporting our schools. They have made a $1,000 donation, $200 to each school, to support negative school nutrition balances. And so a tremendous shout out to County Line Baptist for supporting our students who may be experiencing any type of food poverty. I want to remind Caroline County that I am in the process of a 90-day entry plan where I'm conducting one-on-one immersion interviews. And I have had the opportunity to meet with faith leaders, principals, the sheriff, Chamber of Commerce, Humane Society, Caroline's Promise, all of our board members, some board of supervisors, the PTA presidents, student advisory committees, support staff advisory committees, the CEF, and junior achievement. I have many more meetings to go, and the exciting piece is now putting all of the findings together under our 4 strategic goals so that we can move forward with relevant learning and adaptations to the strategic plan. So if you would like to meet with me, or you know any sort of business or civic organization, please reach out, and Ms. Stevens will help clear a spot for you on our calendar. And finally, I would like to extend congratulations to our student leaders who shared their 21st century talents with us this evening in the form of a passion for journalism, robotics, and technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cavallari. Next, we'll go into closed session to discuss the superintendent's personnel agenda. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Call for the vote.